have to bring my 2016 Subaru WRX back to stock, and actually I've already brought my 2016 Subaru WRX back to stock, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the experience, show you guys the car, tell you guys what I had to do, and tell you guys what I'm bringing back to stock and what I'm actually keeping on the car, because it doesn't make financial sense to actually take it off. So yeah, in this video, we're taking my WRX back to stock. Pretty scary. Here are some of the leftover parts, and excuse my incredibly messy basement. I'm working on a gut renovation, so everything is currently in the basement. But here is the Cobb aftermarket intake and the box. It's looking like a pretty clean filter, honestly, after the amount of use that I put it through. A little bit of rust on the mounting bracket. Got a new MAF extension harness, so that was working really well. We left these on because there's a gasket in between there, and I didn't want to break the gasket, so we left those on. But this is the Nameless Muffler Delete 4-inch tip. I think it's a double wall. Is it a double wall? Double wall. Actually, it's actually a pretty expensive catback exhaust, and I think the other piece is further into the basement. But those are the two stock pieces that are left, if you can believe it. The rest of them are already gone. I've actually sold them. They sold in just a couple days. So here's the car. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Let's walk around the car, and I'll show you what's back to stock. It looks so very different. I mean, you guys can already tell, like, the flagship part of the front of the car is gone, at least in my opinion. One might say it's the front lip, but I think it's really these. And I'm sure that's, if you own a WRX, especially a white WRX, the first thing you just saw was stock headlights. No more blacked out housing, no more sea lights. It's all stock. Cars being sold stock, that's the little backstory. Basically what you're seeing on the front and one thing on the back is kind of like the only thing that's staying on it. Plate relocation kit, just because I don't even know what's underneath that. Not worth my time taking it off. Plate delete, front emblems, which you can barely see here. Front lip, I left the wrap on because I didn't want to take it off. Kept the fender emblems on and the wrap on the side. And actually, we kept the lug nuts, the Gorilla something lug nuts on the stock wheels because I forgot to bring the other lug nuts. They actually don't look too bad. They stick out a little bit, but the black actually looks pretty good on these. I have the ice guards. These winter tires have maybe 1,000 miles, maybe 2,000 miles. Almost brand new, pretty crazy. Left the brakes on because obviously they're the brakes that the car's running with. Kept the emblems on. I kept the tints on the mirrors, but the big thing that I left on, which you guys will see in a second, that I'm losing money for the trade-in and losing money not selling the part, is the OLM carbon fiber duct bill and the vortex generator. So you might ask, why are you keeping these things on? You're absolutely crazy. You're losing a ton of money. It's lowering the resale value. And yes to all of those. The problem is it's like 0 degrees out, and both of these things are held on by 3M tape, and this one doesn't have too much 3M tape, but it's kind of like an OEM kind of part, you know what I mean? It's not going to lower the value too much, and it's worth very little, and I don't want to spend tons of time scraping it off. This, however, worth some money, but I was nervous about the 3M tape not holding it on, so I put a ton of 3M tape. I did try. I spent about 2 hours in this corner, 2 full hours with a heat gun trying to break this, but it's so cold out that I just couldn't get any play, and I decided that I would have broken, well, I know that I would have broken the OLM carbon fiber duct bill if I tried to take it off, so I decided that some other owner, whoever ends up buying this car, is going to get this thing basically for free on a stock WRX. It's in immaculate condition. I mean, there's a little bit of ice on it, but it's in prime condition. And then talking about the things that I did take off the car, I removed the wrap on the trunk. I left the lettering and the badge because those were easy to leave on. Actually, F1 light stays on too. The big sad one, catback exhaust is gone, and the J-pipe is gone. So we're at stock exhaust at this point. As you guys can see, the wheels are back to stock. That's a super bummer because I think they're something that really identifies the car and makes the car unique. Wheels are gone. Big one here is we are back to the OEM base stock headlights. I traded my mud flaps for these headlights, and then I sold my modified headlights to somebody. Huge disappointment, honestly. I mean, the front of the car just doesn't look the same. If you compare it to what it looked like before, it just does not look the same. Having all that chrome there and the reflector, it's not as good. If you guys really follow the channel, you'll also know something else is missing here. Fog lights are gone. So I put back the OEM base bezels that don't have fog light cutouts, and the fog lights are sitting in my basement right now with the bezels for them for a base. So if you want those, hit me up because I still have them. Moving on to the engine, let's take a look at that for a second. So back to the stock intake. That was really the only thing you could see in the engine bay. I did plug in the EGR that was unplugged. I put back the OEM engine cover, looking kind of dusty, but the rest of the engine is stock. And we're back into the car. And if you're looking from the driver's perspective like this, one of the big things that you're missing is the thing that you look at all the time, or at least I found myself looking at all the time, and that usually goes right here, and my access port is gone. No tune. We're stock now. I've put back the fuse box cover, and the car's boring again. Also, stock head unit again. That sucks. Stock shift knob, no more mud flaps. This thing is getting boring and boring and boring and more boring, and I'm so disappointed. It's also freezing, so I'm gonna finish this video from the comfort of my car, which is just as cold. There's just no wind. And yeah, the car's back to stock. It is as back to stock as I'm gonna get it before the car sells. That's the reality. So you guys know what's going on, and keep you posted with what's happening with the car. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.